I'm here with Max Warmerdam, who just beat Arjun Erigaisi. Max, congratulations. What
Thank
a
you.
result. What a game. First of all, is this the first time you beat the 2000 rated player in a classical game?
2800?
Yeah.
Well, it's only the second time I've played one. So I lost like 2 weeks ago to Magnus, which was the first game. So now I'm back to 50%.
How does it feel to take down, one of the world's leading players?
Yeah, I'd say like he's clearly not well. So it's not like I'm beating him in his best form, but still it's of course an incredible feeling, and I was insanely nervous at the end when I felt like I should be in the bag.
How did you manage to keep your nerves under control?
I didn't, but it's just like even actually when he went rook g3, I saw already that I think bishop f4. We'll get to it later.
That, yeah.
But like I made a move that I didn't want to make because I had like 2 winning moves and I settled on one, and then I made the other, and so I was not keeping it under control, but at least it won anyway.
It's over now. You've got the full point in the bag. We're going to jump into the opening straight away. You played this interesting line here against the Sicilian.
Yeah, I have to say it's a very unambitious line, but he made a very strange move, his bishop d7, especially if you follow it up with knight c6. Like bishop d7 I've never seen, but I thought maybe his point is like bishop c6 and I have to go queen e2, which looks a bit awkward, but actually afterwards his bishop is on just bad on c6. So then he went knight c6 and I went bishop c2. And here, okay, if you can also just start with knight c6 because I'll probably go bishop c2 and then you can still decide on whether you want bishop d7 or not, but it's just a bad move. So it should be a good position, but after he went rook c8, it was kind of clear what his intention was, which was g5. And I can maybe start with d4 here, but I just felt principled to allow it because it didn't seem very good. There are some similar lines in bishop b5 check on move 3, where they respond with knight c6 and then bishop d7, and then also there are like new lines where black goes g5. So in a way, I was kind of familiar with with the ideas.
Were you excited? So when you sensed that g5 might be coming and you'll get a real game, maybe get some chances?
Well, like I said, I didn't play the most ambitious line, so I was not ready from the opening to get such a mess.
But if he initiates it, were you happy about that?
Not really, no. No, I was looking for kind of a calm game in a way. He's a very strong player, and but yeah, I know with him that it's also just almost impossible to get a calm game because he will anyway kind of make some move like g5 eventually.
You mentioned before the interview, we talked about he's played the Blumenfeld gambit a couple of days ago. He's also, as you said, is having a very bad tournament. So sometimes, even before the game, did you think, okay, maybe if he does something, too ambitious, I'll get some chances?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And you should try to take your chances in such tournaments because if you don't, in the other games, you'll be punished for it. So, yeah, of course, I should look for opportunities if he gives me some.
So let's continue. Here it comes, g5.
Yeah, so g5. And first of all, I was initially when I castled and I expected g5, I was intending to take, but I'm not sure how good this is. Then rook g8, and my idea was to go f4. And the problem is kind of if I remove my knight, he will take the pawn on h3 because g2 is pinned. So he goes h6, I think. And here I was considering some move like d3, but it was just too messy, kind of. And what I did in the game, I felt more in control, and I thought I should also be better, so I liked that a bit more. Because here you can make some random moves, and I wasn't too sure. Like maybe even take, and then knight e5, for example, to give back the piece. And I'm not sure if I should even take it, but if I don't take it, then it's also unclear what I'm doing.
I can tell you that what you did was better.
It was better, d4, yeah. No, it's also a bit safer, so that's why I mostly liked it. And here goes g4. And I can also first take on g4 and then go d5. But now he has knight e5, and I can go bishop a4 check to get rid of the pressure on f3, because I think he should go back with this knight. And that's kind of one big difference between these other g5 lines that I mentioned before from this different opening. Sometimes you have this pawn on a6, so at least you can cover the diagonal. And also, like why I thought these positions should be quite good for white is because he has the rook on c8. It looks like a useful move, but yeah, if you go g5, you probably want to castle queenside. and that's not possible anymore. So I thought I should have some great version, but I started with d5, and yeah, I just wanted to kind of liquidate some pieces and just get some clarity. And this does look better for white to me, but yeah, just very interesting position anyway. I was a bit shocked that he instantly just went rook j8 here, but it's possible, I guess. Because actually, like, maybe you want to keep possibilities open to castle kingside, and now you just know that the king is going to remain in e8, and
it didn't end well for that king.
It doesn't really look well. Yeah, it actually stayed there the whole game, and then it just got mated eventually. Yeah, here I wasn't sure which settle, but I think just rook d1 makes a lot of sense, and then I can see what to do. E6, and now knight d2. And his next move is clearly an admission that things have gone wrong. B5, it's something I didn't even expect.
I think even here, yeah, our commentators were saying, I mean, after knight d2, with your knight looking to come to c4, and it's already very tricky to stop it, so maybe the previous move was where he went wrong, right?
Yeah, maybe it's already very, very bad, but still, like, to get this open a file, because I go a4, he goes a6, we trade, and now suddenly this rook on a1 is joining the party, and the king is still in e8, and he has, like, no attack or something. And I felt like from this phase on, I should maybe try to punch him harder than I did. But I also like to be in control, and it kind of looked good what I was doing.
It felt like you were combining both things quite well, actually.
Yeah, that's how it felt. But I was a bit afraid to miss like strong opportunities. But I like to get the knight to g3, just to cover my king a little bit. Then my other pieces can move a bit more, and I just want to eventually put pressure on d6. There are also ideas like rook a6, and sometimes maybe even sack the exchange and then try to get via b5. Because just this diagonal a4, e8 is quite weak always. And I think maybe you underestimated my queen h5. Maybe he didn't even see it was possible. Because here he spent quite a bit of time, while knight d5 came quite quickly. And I think maybe he missed that after queen f6 I can just take the pawn. It's very greedy, but after rook h8 the queen is not trapped, and I'm actually winning because of knight h5. He cannot,
very nice.
Yeah, he cannot keep protecting the rook, and if he takes my queen now I have a fork and win the game. So after queen h5, yeah, rook g7, it just looks very, very bad. But it wasn't so easy.
These players never make it easy, right?
Yeah, they just try to not lose as long as possible, and that's kind of difficult always. So I went king h2 to protect the knight and then get f4, which I think is just very nice. So he went queen f6, looked a bit weird. f4, knight d7, because now, yeah, just retreat the queen, and again he retreats because knight h5 is coming. So this queen on h5 wasn't that good anymore, and it just retreated the queen, and now it just looks really good. And this was kind of the most important moment, perhaps, of the game, going e5, because it felt a bit, yeah. On one hand, I want to punish him for his mistakes, but I'm also opening up, and I'm not sure. Like usually, these guys always outcalculate me, so I felt a bit unsure about this stuff. But yeah, it's just very nice. Yeah, and now again he moves the queen, forcing my next move. Yeah, knight e4. He takes the knight, I take back, now d5. And anyway, it makes a lot of sense what he does, because if he gets c4 in the next move, it doesn't look that bad anymore. So again, I had to kind of go for the most ambitious way, and probably just the best way. Queen takes b5. Now the d pawn is pinned, but he continues with c4. And he just wants to develop the bishop finally, and then maybe it starts to look a bit more okay again.
But he's not in time.
Yeah, I didn't allow him to. So the rook a7, rook d8. And now, like if I go some bishop f3 move, then maybe he gets some counterplay, like queen f2, he attacks the rook on a7. And then bishop c5 is coming, and then maybe he gets back into the game a little bit. But I sacrifice the bishop, and I already have 3 pawns for it, so it's not even really a sacrifice, and he's just kind of getting mated.
Bishop d5 was awarded a brilliant move in the chess.com broadcast. How does it feel to make that kind of move on the board?
Yeah, initially, actually, like 2 moves before, I didn't really see yet that I should just do it, but when I saw it, it just looked so good. I had to do it, of course. And it's not even like a big risk, because I get 3 pawns, and c4 is also weak, so worst case I get 4 pawns and still some attacking chances. And yeah, especially when he has to go queen e7 here, it just feels very, very good, because you're still afraid somehow that this g line is scary, but yeah, queen e7 is the only move. But here I played rook a8 instantly, which I wasn't too happy with, because I thought that actually if he goes queen e6, maybe he has some surviving chances. It should lose anyway, but I thought like what I missed actually is that after take queen e8, he can go to c7.
You are once again correct. I think rook a8 was the only move that wasn't, the top.
Yeah. No, I played kind of instantly because I only had 9 minutes left, and I was like, this may be not the way, yeah. Because also here, like, the queen is coming to c6, targeting g2, and yeah, it didn't feel so easy, but then when he took on a8, I was very happy, especially after queen b7, which I think is a very nice move, because now he's just pinned and he cannot move at all. So you have to go bishop c5, f5, bishop b6 to get queen c7, but it's two very important tempi. And now I get this move in, which is very nice. He has to go back. And now I should start looking for the win, but I wasn't very sure. But also his position is just too bad.
The king is just so weak, right?
Yeah, I thought maybe he has some idea of like queen c7, knight b8, queen c6 to get some coordination and threaten on g2. But even then I can always straight on c6 and go rook d6, winning a piece. So
can we somehow show that?
Yeah, so
I
made king h1, for example, queen c7, queen d5. Let's say, okay, knight b8, I go e6 and win the game, I think. But let's say even I waste a move and goes queen c6, I can always trade and go rook d6 and I just win a piece. So so even like, he just has no ideas and he's just stuck and just getting mated because eventually e6 comes and then I just win the game. And this was the moment I kind of made a move which I didn't want to make. Because initially I was just intending to go bishop f4, which forces rook d3, take, and then e6. And now he cannot take the bishop because he's getting mated. So after e6, he can just basically resign. Maybe he'll make some move like queen a7, but should always win after I take on f7. But I also had seen that e6 wins. But I had settled on bishop f4, and then my hand somehow made the other move. But luckily, yeah, it's anyway winning. So
a little moment of panic, or
yeah, a little moment of what just happened. But yeah, if he removes his knight, I take on f7, rook e1, and he just gets mated. So he took on e6, but I'd already seen that yeah, bishop f4 just wins because the queen cannot keep protecting d7. I just take the rook.
Very, very nice game, Max.
Yeah.
You've played here in Wijk so many times. Would you say that this is the highlight so far of your career in Wijk?
Yeah. Although last year after 6 rounds, I was on +1, so above 50%. So that also I was on top of the world in a way to play Masters first time and then have such a score. But yeah, this will, I think, for some time be my highest win. So I'm definitely gonna enjoy this.
Speaking of scores, you're now on 3 out of 7. The first half of the tournament is over. How do you reflect on your games and play so far?
Well, I think okay, now I won today, which is a big win, but maybe anyway, I still kind of have too few points for the positions I had. Because in round 2 already I was just kind of winning against Vincent, maybe even multiple moments. But it was never that easy, but I should have converted that. And then in round 3, yeah, both round 2 and 3 were just kind of costing me too much energy because they were both almost like 6 hours. And that kind of cost me some points. So I lost round 3 and then round 4 against Harry. Yeah, I was really tired already from the previous 2 rounds. And then we got some crazy position. And I kept up making the right moves for a while, but at some point I just couldn't anymore. But I think since then I've been getting back into the tournament because I in a way a nice game with Prague because I was just safely pushing for a win, which is always nice against such a strong player. And yesterday I didn't really have any problems with black against Mendonca. So yeah, I'm definitely getting back into the tournament, especially after such a win.
Very nice to get this upward spiral going again. Can you tell us a little bit about who you're working with here, if it's not a secret, and what your preparation routine looks like? Yeah,
I'm working with Jonas Boulbier, Danish grandmaster about my rating and a very young guy. And yeah, for this, because previous years I always took Luc van Wely. And I wanted to try something else, especially like it's the only tournament that I take a second with me in the year. So I thought it's interesting to try something else. And yeah, anyway, it's quite, both times were quite interesting.
How is it to be working with someone, with that young who maybe has a bit, no offense to Luke if he's watching, but who has maybe a little bit more energy, more hunger, let's say, in some sense.
Yeah, in a way, it's like Luke played this tournament already so many times that he has quite a lot of experience. So maybe he's not clicking lines all night, but still has important input, and we know each other for such a long time already that it's also nice to go to this tournament together. And Jonas, I kind of didn't know at all, so it was a bit of a gamble, but yeah, it doesn't seem so bad now.
It's a very interesting decision, right? To hire someone as a second who you barely know.
Yeah.
But it's been working out, right? You guys seem to be having a good time on and off the... I mean, it's working well on the board and also outside
Yeah,
of that,
and it's
right?
also just interesting to work with another very hardworking player and kind of see their input and just discuss things which you perhaps don't really know.
Well, Max, thank you very much for sharing those insights with us. Congratulations once again on a brilliant win and best of luck with the rest.
Thanks.